Have you ever paused in the middle of your workday and wondered why you're even doing all of this? That small moment of questioning often sneaks up on you when the tasks feel repetitive or when the pressure piles up. And in that moment, you might sense a quiet gap between what you believe and what you do every day. It feels familiar because many believers find themselves asking the same thing. What is the real purpose behind the work you spend so much of your life doing? It's easy to slip into a pattern where your spiritual life sits on one side and your work life sits on the other. You pray, reflect, and feel grounded during certain parts of the week, but once you step into your job, everything shifts into a different mode. That separation happens so naturally that you barely notice it. But this split often leaves you feeling like your faith only fits into certain hours, while the rest of your life runs on autopilot. When that happens, work feels more like obligation than meaningful contribution. But here's something worth holding on to. God cares about where you are, how you show up, and the way your unique gifts move through your daily routine. The place you work isn't random. The skills you use aren't accidental. Even the challenges you face carry weight. When you look at your job through that lens, the small moments start to gain clarity. The conversations, the effort, the reliability, the kindness you bring, these things matter. They reflect the way you serve, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. And when you think about it that way, your job becomes more than a paycheck or a schedule you have to follow. It becomes one of the clearest places where you can honor God through the way you act, the integrity you hold, and the way you treat people. You don't need a special title or a spiritual role to make that real. You just need to align your daily work with the values you already carry. Once you do, your routine shifts from something you endure to something with purpose, direction, and meaning. When you look at work through an analytical lens, you notice how quickly it becomes tied to pressure. Deadlines stack up, expectations rise, you feel the weight before the day even starts. That reaction is common, but it often makes you forget to pause and examine where this tension comes from. When work feels heavy, your mind jumps to survival mode and you lose sight of its deeper structure. Seeing this clearly helps you understand why your energy drains and why motivation fades faster than it should. If you trace work back to its earliest picture, you find a very different scene. In Eden, humanity received a clear task to work and keep the garden. It was not an assignment given after failure or punishment. It was intentional. You were meant to engage, shape, care, and build. That original setting shows you that work was never designed as something chaotic or frantic. It was purposeful interaction with what was entrusted to you. When you look at your own tasks today, remind yourself that meaningful action has always been part of human design. Understanding that helps you shift your mindset. Work was part of God's original design, not a burden. That means you are not meant to carry it as a constant weight. You are meant to approach it with clarity. You can start by reducing the unnecessary layers you add to your responsibilities. Break tasks down. Identify the piece that truly matters. Strip away the noise. When you do that, the pressure loses its grip, and you return to a healthier relationship with what you are called to do. And when you bring intention to each task, something changes inside you. Completing tasks with excellence brings fulfillment. Not perfection, not comparison, just steady, focused effort. You feel the difference when you finish a job and know you gave it your best. That sense of completion builds confidence and momentum. So today, choose one task. Do it well. Do it with attention. Let the result remind you that work, at its core, was created to bring out your strength, not drain it. Work can be worship, not just something done on Sundays. You turn that truth into reality when you show up with intention. You choose to treat your tasks as something meaningful, even when they feel routine. You remind yourself that worship is not a moment in a building. It is the attitude you carry into what you do. When you shift your mindset like that, you stop waiting for a spiritual feeling and start building a spiritual practice through action. Faithfulness in daily labor is an act of devotion to God. You demonstrate that devotion every time you finish what you start. Honor your commitments and resist the urge to cut corners. It is not about perfection. It is about showing consistency when nobody is watching. That kind of steady effort shapes your character and strengthens your integrity. If you ever feel unsure about where to begin, start by choosing one area where you can be more dependable today. Your workplace can become a place of worship. You create that space by carrying peace into tense moments and choosing patience in situations that frustrate you. You set the tone through your attitude long before you speak. This is a practical shift. You take a deep breath before reacting. You decide to treat people with respect, even when they challenge you. Over time, those small decisions change the atmosphere around you, and your workplace becomes more than a location. It becomes part of your spiritual journey. You are not just working for God, but with God. That means you do not carry your workload alone. You invite guidance into your planning, your decisions, and your relationships. You check in with your values before taking action. When you feel overwhelmed, you pause and ask for clarity instead of forcing your way through stress. This partnership gives you room to work with confidence because you know you are not navigating your responsibilities by yourself. Ministry is a partnership, and God is beside you in your daily work. You do not need a title or a stage to make an impact. You influence people through simple gestures, listening well, offering help without being asked, or bringing calm into chaotic moments. These actions may feel small, but they build trust and open doors. When you see your daily interactions this way, you stop underestimating your role. You recognize that your work is a place where purpose grows, one decision at a time. You might notice how people pay attention when someone consistently delivers their best. That reaction isn't accidental. When you choose excellence, you create a contrast that others can't ignore. And you're not doing it to impress anyone. You're doing it because your standard comes from a higher place. As you raise the quality of your work, you quietly shape the environment around you. Others see it, they feel it, and without saying a word, you leave a clear mark of who you belong to. You also carry something deeper than skill. When you live out Christ in your work, your presence becomes a message in itself. You don't need a stage or a spotlight. The way you respond to pressure, the way you treat people, the way you take responsibility shows what drives you on the inside. And when someone watches you handle a difficult moment with integrity or patience, they get a picture of faith expressed through action. That's often the moment when curiosity awakens and influence begins. Skillful, God-honoring work does more than complete tasks. It stands out in a world where shortcuts are common. When you give your full attention to the details, you bring order, clarity, and reliability to your role. This kind of consistency changes how others view you. It builds trust. It opens, and as God can you influence faith. This when you understand that growth happens through participation, not escape. This keeps you grounded and productive. So here is your direction. Bring God into your work. Serve with intention. Rest with purpose. Trust the process shaping you. Every choice you make today pulls your calling into focus.